Should you summon? That is the question this week, just like every week in Watch of Realms, but this week it is a lot more straightforward. Just one banner of note, this 15x rate up for Constance and Alaura. No ancient summoning, nothing else, no nascent, no 1+1. We can put all our attention on this one over here, and for that reason, I'm coming to you guys a bit early. Normally I release these on Thursdays. Today is a Wednesday. I'm coming at you guys early so you have all the time you need to make the decision, which for some of you will be very, very obvious, and for others will not. The key thing I'm going to highlight in this video is there's a specific way I think the vast majority of players should summon on this banner if they choose to do so. It is not a bad banner at all, inherently, because of the presence of Constance. What a superstar. I put out a full guide on her yesterday. She is phenomenal. Borderline triple S normal hero, a very high-end S+ hero. Alaura is absolute, mind my language, stinky, stanky dog shit. I said mind my language. I'm going to discuss that in depth with you guys and hopefully show some Alaura stans the light. I know some people are entrenched in their ways. I even have a challenge for you guys, so if anyone wants to take me up on it, I'm going to use that to prove my point. Juicy banner, though. Some of you guys should be summoning. There's a specific way you should be doing it in most cases. So without further ado, should you summon? Let's answer the question. Let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
All right, let's spend 1 minute on our 3 epic heroes here. Very good crowd control. If you get Awakenings into her, very solid magic AoE damage, especially for an epic. She is good in GVG, especially as you're progressing when you're not in super high-end guilds. You can even see her get play later on. And then most importantly, she's phenomenal in Gear Raid 1, especially an incredible pairing with Boreas. And then she is fantastic in Faction Trials. One of the better Faction Trial epics, regardless of faction in the entire game. Theowin, good, very good with Awakenings and a very endgame build for things like GVG. However, 100% free, you can fuse him. Permanent Epic Fusion, you can fuse 6 copies if you want to get him A5. Pulling for him is sad. And then Dallin. Dallin in a lot of content is the best cost generator inside the entire game. That is because her cost generation is not dependent upon ulting. It is just a time-based thing. With max skill ups, her passive generates 15 cost every 25 seconds like clockwork. So in content where she can't be putting out attacks all the time to generate more rage or is not getting hit all the time to generate rage, she is the best option. For other stuff, Cyrene is going to be the queen. But in general, I think Dallin outside of PvP gets the most use. And then in PvP, specifically for anti-air, Dallin is the better choice over Cyrene. Final key thing with Dallin, excellent, beautiful fodder for Micah. Micah is so vastly underrated. Go check out my Micah guide if you don't believe me. Let's kick it off with the good stuff. We will save what I'm sure is going to be a bunch of ranting about Alaura for later in the video. Constance is phenomenal. I'm not going to break down the whole kit. I did that in the guide. Go watch it. The gist here is she is a good tank. She is quite a good healer, and she is a phenomenal support. She has big, juicy inspiration with max skill ups. This lasts for 20 seconds. She's got that big Dolores Constance range when you promote her, and it's going to be 45% of her attack is shared as inspiration. That is less than Dolores. However, she has much higher base attack. Dolores is at like 2650. Constance is at 3250. Key thing as well, her Awakenings are phenomenal, specifically up to A3. At A2, you get 300 additional attack, so that brings that base attack to like 3550 approximately. That is fantastic. At that point, she starts exceeding Dolores. And then the key thing where she just goes nuts is her A3. And this includes when she heals herself, which can happen from this passive over here. She will put a 10% post-deployment attack boost on herself. It gets her attack super duper high, brings her to new heights, and actually makes her a better inspiration hero than Dolores. On top of all of that, she is not limited on her basic attacks like Dolores, where attack speed does not affect her. So you can get her going faster, she can generate rage more quickly, and she can ult more frequently. For a lot of content, it depends on the map, but for a lot of content, she is the best support in the game. I honestly would say that. The best inspiration for a lot of content. Combine that with a really nice healing and the ability to tank when you need her as well. Go check out the 3 different builds I showed off in that guide. Constance is totally phenomenal, and she is like on that short list, or maybe the list is getting longer nowadays, but on that, contained exclusive list of heroes that every single player will want on their account eventually. She is brilliant as a Watcher. She is brilliant as an Arbiter. She is a very, very well-designed kit. She's super, super strong. Who isn't strong? Well, Alaura is a good example of a hero that absolutely sucks butt. She's not good. She's really not good. When Alaura was known to be coming to the game, because she was already on Forerunner, I'm not exaggerating. For a lot of players, she was the most anticipated hero in the game. And I'm going back to before Hex was even released. Mob Bucket covered her. People were drooling, foaming, whatever from the mouth, losing their minds for the idea of making Gear Aid 3 easy. I was hyped. I was not as hyped, but I thought she'd be pretty darn good. I thought she'd be like a solid marksman, you know, at least someone as good as like a Brienne or something, maybe a legendary Brienne. Combine that with full permanent invisibility as long as you do not ult. I thought she was going to be such a cheat code for Gear Aid 3. That is very true for Gear Aid 319. And that's it. And that's it. She has pretty darn low base attack for a single target legendary marksman. Typically used to seeing somewhere in the 37, 38, 3900 attack range. She's coming at 3657. Combine that with completely pitiful multipliers. It's a very sad thing. Her ult essentially just juices up her basic attacks, turning them all into double hitters and increasing their damage by 60%. So their double hitters increase damage by 60%. That's it. You know, it's not nothing, but it is not really something. It's not like a big attack boost, not even an attack speed boost. 60% increased damage is solid, especially on double hitters. But with that base attack and that all being what you're getting, it is not sufficient. It is really, really not. Can she work for Gear Aid 3? And I'm always going to talk about Gear Aid 3 with her because that's where people want to use her. You can also make her work in Void Rift. Basically, that's it. Like Ludwig stages, things like that, where you can hide her out and she can pick things off with her invisibility. Yeah, it can work. Pretty niche. But the main purpose is Gear Aid 3, that tile on the right side. Or wait, I'm inverted. On the right side. My left hand, but your right side. You understand what I'm saying. She can work. She can do it. But the gear and or awakenings it takes for her to work mean if you can do that, you're at the point where you legitimately do not need her. I have never, ever, and I've done at minimum 400 Gear Aid 3 takeovers, specifically for 321, I would guess at least 300. Oh my God, I've never seen a single account where you needed Alaura. Not once. Never. Could I do a clear with her? Sure. But could I leave her off the roster and still get the clear? Literally 100% of cases I have come across. Full stop. So here's the challenge. If you beat 321 with Alaura and you still think you could not do it without her, if you sincerely believe that, let me know. Maybe we'll stream it. I could get a couple accounts together. I guarantee I can prove that I can do it without her. She honestly does not make it easier. You might say, but it's nice having someone on the right side. Then use Maul or Brienne or something. It's so easy. And I'm naming specifically epics. If you have legendaries, there are obviously a million better legendary choices. The invisibility is a gimmick. The damage is a joke. Honestly, what she does, the only thing she does that really can help you is pick off the thing on the right. Good timing with Idril can solve that entirely. You do not need a Silas in the middle. Liam is sufficient. And with the introduction of the new epic Piercer Lord Eliza, whom nearly all of us got for free from her shard summoning event, she does the same thing. She really does. Alaura is just such a big, nasty fart. This kit sucks. There is no damage in here. Let's go to Awakenings. At A1, all of her overflow crit, so anything past 100%, gets turned into crit damage. Once you have her A1 and your gear is pretty darn good, she can work for the right side on Gear Aid 3. But again, at that point, your gear's already pretty darn good. I would guess even with an A1 Alaura, 95% of the cases you still could have done without her. A0, 100% of the cases. I will die on that hill until I'm proven wrong. Try to prove me wrong if you dare. A2, obviously she gets way better, plus 300 attack to her pitiful 3650 or whatever it is. At that point, you've got the A1, the excess crit is becoming crit damage, so you can do a real overboard build and take advantage of some crit rate bangles, combine that with additional attack. At this point, yeah, you can make Alaura work. Even still, she's not going to work in like normal gear the way you could get a hot sit to work. Obviously, hot sit's the best choice for the right side, but you understand what I'm saying. You're still going to need good gear. A3, now at this point, 50-50 when she's invisible. You have a chance to deal additional 80% damage 2 times in a little splash radius, 1.5 tiles. At that point, she's a usable hero. Is she good? Not at all. Is she usable? Sure. And can she get gear A3 21 down? Absolutely. If you have her A3 and your gear isn't bad, yes, you could do it. A4, we get some crit rate. A5, the invisibility when you're in that state before the ult, every 10 crits, which if you built her right and you've got the excess crit and everything, you're wearing the crit bangle. At this point, every 10 crit hits is going to give 1 stack of a 10% damage boost. If you can get 30 crits before the next ult or when you need to use the ult, you get a 30% damage increase. I have an A4 Alaura. It's a very sad story. I'm very salty about it. I think she's very bad. Part of the reason I hate her so much is because people were so hyped about her. I'm not joking. When Hex was coming, some people were saying, you can try to go back to old videos from like me, Ma Bucket, and everybody, Ivy Lee at that time, now Susie. Go back to comments. There are people that were like wanting to skip Hex and Lassier and wait because Alaura was coming soon, which is pretty funny, especially since Alaura from the beginning has always been on this banner. This is the 3rd time pure they've rerun this banner. They also reran it once as a Divine Legendary Summons Only banner. This is the most used banner in Watcher of Realms history, and I was very correct that it was an omen that they were trying to bleed you dry, summoning for Constance, so you'd be depleted, and then the update would come, as I predicted, on October the 14th. So the update's coming October the 14th. Let's answer the question, should you summon for Constance? Because no one in their right mind should summon for Alaura, even if for some reason you want her. She's a common bucket legendary. You'll get her eventually. Do not be targeting commons like that basically ever, unless they're completely goated for some specific thing you need, which she absolutely is not. Constance, on the other hand, is a goat. She is phenomenal, but here's the big caveat. If you're going to go on this banner, the special divine summoning, that is your gold divine legendary summoning crystals. That currency will not be used in 250 guaranteed hero, limited, whatever exclusives, which very, very likely I'm going to have a video about tomorrow, almost certainly now, will be Kagiri. That will use this currency, the blue rare summoning crystals on the special Invocation of Spirits banner. I would suggest almost no one unloads on this banner, specifically with your blue rare summoning crystals, if you are not already prepared with 250 summons worth of blue summons and diamonds to put towards Kagiri or perhaps Twilight, but it's really, really looking like Kagiri. Now, why do I say that? Because Constance, as a rare bucket hero, you have a 20% chance to hit her. You have to think Bird in the Hand versus Two in the Bush. Kagiri is unbelievably fantastic to deplete your rare summoning resources and make it so you cannot guarantee yourself the 250 guaranteed, the limited hero, because you were taking shots at the dark for Constance, and probably you're going to come out of it with like an Alaura or an Azor or a Cratch or whatever. I just sincerely do not think it is worth it. However, Constance is an enormous, enormous boon to almost any rosters. If you do not have her, she's phenomenal. And then if you don't have her A3 yet, that is such a huge awakening. So if you do have enough extra gold legendary divine summons and you don't have a copy of Constance or you desperately want certain awakenings, you should summon specifically on this banner. That's why I said if you want to summon, there is a specific way to do it. Focus on the currency that will not be siphoning off from your stash that you need for Kagiri or whomever the next 250 limited hero is. I really think it's as simple as that. Let's talk about more specific examples. If you're a big, crazy spender and you've got tons of summons, you're way past all those numbers I've thrown out. Obviously, if you want to hunt for Constance as a base copy, go for it. And then if you need awakenings, you know what you need, right? When it comes to the blue summons for normal people, like not huge spenders, but maybe you've just been saving for a while, skipping a bunch of banners, and you have well over 250, I would suggest bring yourself down to that comfortable range, maybe 200 leftover summons worth of blue summoning crystals, the rare summons and diamonds, because through rebate and then the 1.5 to 3.5 more weeks we'll have to save for the next 250 exclusive banner, you'll be a-okay. But do not make the mistake of getting trigger happy, being a summoning addict, and dumping it all now and then missing out on a Kagiri, right? That would really suck. All in all, this banner has an absolute superstar and an absolute stinky girl. It's up to you what you want to do, but I think nearly everyone should not be using their blue summons, and then people that really want Constance or really need her should feel comfortable using their gold legendary divine summons. A final caveat, it is very likely when we get that Kagiri banner or whoever the next 250 limited hero banner is, it is going to be in conjunction with a 2x by 15x on Lucius, Beelzebub, aka Bubba, and Razak. I think Bubba is going to be one of the strongest heroes in the entire game. He's already my favorite. That is 2x by 15x, rated up heroes, Lucius and Bubba, incredible ones, along with doubled rates to get a legendary to begin with. That's going to be a juicy banner. They'll have it for blue summons and gold summons. So I wouldn't go all in on your divines, but you know what your stash looks like. You know what your tolerance for risk is. You make that assessment yourself. Slightly different kind of video today, guys, but I sure hope you liked it. A little early in the week. If you've been enjoying the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you know the second any video comes out. Let me know all your thoughts, all your plans in the comments. Share with your mother. I've been Fastidious, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.